Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Speaker Spotlight. For those I have not met before, my name is Lori. I am a business success coach who helps aspiring digital nomads and entrepreneurs to build profitable remote-based businesses that give them the freedom of time and location that they're looking for and allow them to live the life of their dreams within 12 months or less. Today, I am joined by Chris Templeton. And Chris began developing the Stories We Tell model in 2003, driven by a strong desire to be more or to more fully understand the dynamics of his personal and professional relationships, and has been exploring and developing this model ever since. His goal today is to provide you 3 questions and a model to create more meaning and happiness in your life, with your family, your friends, and most importantly, yourself. This is not therapy or a belief system, but just a tool to help you enhance and clarify what is most important to you. And I am so excited. Welcome, Chris, or J. Chris, as we officially
Chris.
have it. Welcome. Excited to have you here. If you want to, expand on your introduction a little bit, I'm sure everybody would love to hear about it.
Well, I have been in business since 1999, and I left a corporate position in 98 and was so glad to be out of that. Really enjoyed it. It was a large financial and insurance institution and really had a good time. But boy, oh boy, being able to start my own business and raise my kids and kind of run across some things in the process that led me to this is just been really a lovely thing. But I think the biggest thing for me in terms of being in business on my own has just been the freedom, right? Like you talked about,
Absolutely.
the freedom of time to do what you want, to go on the kids, outdoor ed, that sort of thing. And it just has been it isn't all a breeze, is it? But boy, oh boy,
It makes it
being in
easier.
business makes life a lot easier. So, and so really a big piece of what I want to do is you talk about having the freedom of time. I want to free up the time in your mind, and I want to help. And what I'm here to do is to help people to kind of get what do we say? I need to get out of my head, which
Yeah.
I'll kind of show you what that means in the model that I have. But the whole idea of this is, from my perspective, it's like putting on clear glasses, not rose-colored glasses, not sunglasses that are dark. It's to put on clear glasses and to recognize how good I am at driving myself crazy, especially in business. It's really,
Oh,
really easy
wow.
to
Yeah.
do. Oh, my clients. Oh, my vendors. You can't believe what my employees did, that sort of thing. I'm here to help you to clear all of that up and find a way to behave in your business that serves you first. I want you to be selfish in a really authentic way, and then you're in the space to be able to create that for your people, whether it's your clients, your vendors, your employees, doesn't matter. So that's kind of the heart of what I'm doing. I've been doing this since started working on this in 2003, and it has changed my life so dramatically in such a nice and lovely way. So that's the kind of long and short of it, high level overview.
Well, I am looking forward to hearing the detailed part of it then too. So let's
So
dig in.
sure, absolutely. So you know what? I want to just read a quote to you, a couple of quotes from a guy by the name of Viktor Frankl. He wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning, and he was a guy who was in the concentration camps during World War II. He was a psychiatrist, and what he said was, And the reason I want to talk about this is I want to like get the lowest baseline, like what's the worst conditions on the planet that somebody could be in, and I can't imagine much worse than being in this. And so what he said is, once the meaning of suffered had been revealed to us, we refused to minimize or alleviate the camp's tortures by ignoring them or harboring false illusions and entertaining artificial optimism. And, as a business owner, boy, we kind of fall into that in certain areas of our businesses where we're ignoring certain things, we're pretending that everything's going to be okay, or it's all going to be great. And so what he goes on to say is suffering, and I'm not saying business is suffering, but suffering had become a task on which,
maybe no.
well, certain parts of it, right? And really, this is about reducing the suffering that we create as business owners. So suffering had become a task on which we did not want to turn our backs. We had realized its hidden opportunities for achievement. And achievement just shocked me that, here's these people in these concentration camps who think that there's something to be gained in the experience. I was like, oh my God. We who lived in concentration camps can remember the men who walked through the huts, comforting others, giving away their last piece of bread. They may have been few in number, but they offer sufficient proof that everything can be taken from a man but one thing: the last of human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's way. And then the last thing that I will read, and then I can actually talk too, is my favorite quote on the planet, and why I think you'll see that we'll use this as we go through this discussion. Actually, let me put that up. And that's not going to fit. So
here, hold on. I'll take.
No, that's okay. Oh, okay, cool. So between stimulus and response, there's a space, and in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. And this may not make a ton of sense off the get-go, but I promise what I'm going to do is make it relevant throughout this conversation. But here's the bottom line: between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space is our ability to choose, is for us to grow and to have freedom. But what happens as business owners is we have this tendency to have a stimulus response without even thinking about it, without any space between it. And so what my whole goal is the more space I have between stimulus and response, the more likely I am to have great relationships with my clients, have employees that I enjoy working with. And so you'll see how that applies in this. But so does that make sense? Kind of as a
absolutely.
foundation?
Yeah, like just definitely makes sense. So I would assume it's making sense to everybody else. I actually, just going to side note quick here, I don't know if we are live right now because it's not showing up. So it'll make sense when we eventually get this to them.
Okay, well, that's fine. And so anyway, in 2003, I read a book called The Power of Now by a guy named Eckhart Tolle, kind of new age spirituality. And one of the things he said was, oh my God, we are so good at driving ourselves insane in certain parts of our lives. And so I can't tell you the number of people in business who complain about their plight in life and have no comprehension of how their stories about their business are not serving them, and that they're in essence are not having any space between stimulus and response. That's my employees. Oh, my vendors. Oh, that client. Can you believe that client? Those kinds of things. And so when we're there, we have a tendency to get stuck. Like we don't, there's not a lot of, when that's my frame of reference, I don't do much to solve that in a meaningful way. And so through reading this book and kind of practicing, I've come up with 3 questions. What's the story I'm telling? about whatever it is I'm looking at about myself. We're going to talk about that a lot because confidence and that sort of thing. What's the story I'm telling? And that's my thinking, what I visualize in my head. Oh, that car, I wish I had that car, that kind of thing. And then the second question is, what is this story serving me in this moment? In this moment, in this moment, in this moment. Did it serve me yesterday? Fine. Did it serve me a lifetime ago? Did it serve me when my parents were treating me like garbage or when I was bullied at school? All of that may have worked then, but right here and now, is this story serving me? And when we ask that question, we seem to just know. Like if your answer is to whatever you're looking at, is this story serving me in this moment? And your answer is, well, of course it is. What are you talking about? It's not serving you. But if your answer to the question is, yeah, that's not working for me.
Right.
Like I can feel in my chest or, in my belly that this just isn't this isn't a good thing. Then the third question is there a more authentic story I can tell? More authentic. And so when you look at that, what happens is if you were to take a piece of 8.5 by 11 or A4 paper, turn it on its side so it was landscape, and you wrote those questions down. Top left corner, what's the story I'm telling? Middle, is this story serving me in this moment? And on the bottom left, the third question, is there a more authentic story I can tell? What happens is at the second question, you can draw a horizontal line. And what I say is everything that isn't serving you, all the stories that you tell that don't serve you, go above that line. And I call that fondly little me land. We've all been there, haven't we? We're fear-based, we're victimized, we feel helpless, we feel hopeless. That's all above the line little me land thinking. Okay. So if the story is serving me, that goes below the line. And so it's just the beauty of it is it's binary. Like this isn't, how are you feeling today? Like that just if we go down the feelings road, it's not that feelings aren't important. Typically it's what's going to light me up to say, wait a minute, what's the story I'm telling? But
Absolutely.
if we work from the standpoint of feelings, it's too mushy. And so I just want something that's binary. Above the line, not serving me, little land. Below the line is serving me, authentic me. And then we also talk about enlightened me, which is kind of where flow happens and that where I'm able to sit down and work on a project for 3 hours and it feels like an hour, that sort of thing. But we'll focus primarily on authentic me and little me land. So that's kind of the heart of the model. And the thing that fascinates me is when I talk to people about this, I get the response that you are having the whole way through. And I hope your audience will too, is it kind of cracks me up. It's like, oh my God, little me. Yeah. Oh, been there.
It resonates.
Right. And so the thing that really is fascinating from my standpoint is when we're in little me land, we take something that's small, and because of how we're wired, because of fight, flight, or freeze response, we have a tendency to take something small and build it up in our head and make that story bigger and bigger and typically more and more negative. And that's above the line thinking, little me land. And so what happens is all of a sudden one day, Jimmy walks into the office, and I've been building a story about Jimmy as an employee, and he does one final thing, and I haven't said a thing to him about his behavior because I'm too afraid to, because that's another characteristic of being in little me land, and I just let loose, and Jimmy is floored. He's like, what just happened? Right? And as business owners, I remember I have a very good friend who, he called me the other day. He's like, oh man, you know, that party we worked the other day, I was really mad at the employees, and I kind of let them have it. And then I'm driving down the road and I thought about what you were saying. Is like, wow, if the employees aren't doing what I want them to do, is it their fault or my fault? And my thing is, boy, it can be their fault, but you better make sure that you've done everything that you can. And that kind of thinking doesn't tend to happen above the line. Below the line, that's where we're like, hey, dude, you got to change what you're doing here. Or, hey, everybody, this is how we're going to work. And so one of the things that's been really fascinating for me with my friend Rob is he's been able to incorporate the basics of this model into his thinking. And he's like, now I own my own behavior. And now I look at my behavior and say, well, is it contributing to the problem? And if it is, from a place of curiosity, what can I do to make this better? And that is, man, oh man, if I can get there from down below that line with myself, then I also am able to do that with the people that I work with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will say, as someone who's been in leadership, well, my entire career, and now, have a team of my own. So.
Well, and so here's one of the things that I want everybody that sees this to take away, more than the model, more than the questions, is please, if you don't do anything else from this video, please look at your life as practice. And the reason is, if it's practice, well, I can make mistakes, but I can learn from them. I can grow from them. I can own my behavior with my employees. Oh my God, I'm so sorry I went off the handle. Here's why. This is what I intend to do about it. And people are like, oh my God, you're apologizing. I'm your employee. You're apologizing to me. Yeah. You know what? I blew it. And what I really want is, from the standpoint of the model, I want everybody to be below the line as much as they can, right? If everybody's down below that line in an authentic place and they feel like they can say, hey, Chris, you need to be able to do this because that's not working. And for me as a business owner to be able to say, create that environment where people can speak freely, we're all going to be so much better. But what we do instead, many of us, some regularly, some occasionally, is they go above that line into little me land, they build a case, and they start changing their behavior in ways that doesn't serve them. One of the things we said we're going to talk about is confidence. Well,
absolutely.
We have one of the things that I talk about in my model is below the line, you have a narrator. There's just a part of you that's kind of always talking to you or visualizing what's going on and trying to make sense out of everything. But above the line, that narrator turns into what I like to call the protector. And the protector is the ego for everybody else. And people say, oh, the ego is the enemy. And how can I crush the ego? No. We're not going to. Let's dispense with that right now. Let's recognize that we have a piece of our personality, a perspective that is the protector, and it's there to serve us. It's really good at finding problems. It's really good, right?
I've dealt with it myself and every single one of my clients. Yes.
There's nobody that hasn't. And this is universal. You know what I'm talking about? There's nobody on the face of the planet that this does not apply to. I mean, even if you're not in business, the whole above the line and below the line, little me and authentic me applies to everyone. Absolutely. And so if you buy into this concept of the protector, what I want people to understand is that the protector is really good at finding problems, really good at making them even worse, and really crappy at solving them. But if what we do is we stop trying to push that part of us away and listen to it, if we become the counter agent oh my God, can you imagine what ticket agents are going through in airports right now with all these canceled flights?
I would not want to be them. Thank you for those who are doing that.
And think about it. What they do is they get somebody who marches up. I'm going to tell you what. My flight's been canceled. I'm going to let you have it. And the good ones, you know what they do? And they let that person vent. And so if you think about it from the protectors really got it going. Rah, 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 and as they talk and vent and vent and vent and vent and vent, now I'm just a little bit above the line, and the protector, and then you get a little sheepish look on your face, like, oh wow, where'd that come from? And then the counter agent is the one that says, okay, hey, how can we solve this? And so if you, as a business owner, recognize that that part of you is there to serve you, and that what you need to do is give it a voice and let it express itself freely, because what we have a tendency to do is, like we said in the beginning, push stuff away, ignore things, put on, make it happy. Oh, it's going to be okay, until it's not, and then I'm right back to where I want. If we recognize that so much of our lack of confidence is simply letting this guy go off without addressing him or her appropriately, and it's really listening to what it has to say, writing it down, giving it the ability to vent, then I come down below that line, and now I can be solution oriented. And that is the whole concept.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, when all of a sudden then what happens is, below the line, I'm like, gee, what is up with Jimmy? Hey, Jimmy, you okay? I've been wondering about you. You seem like you've been a little off your game. And I just, I'm here to help you. Nothing makes me a better leader than if you are crushing it and I'm creating what you need to do the best job. And I'm not seeing it right now. Are you okay? Curiosity below that line.
Absolutely.
Asking questions, talking to the client. So
I always say, you're only as strong as your weakest link, when it comes to your team. And if something that they're doing, they're dealing with something and you ignore it, you're going to fail as a result of not taking care of them.
And guess who's the weakest link most of the time? Don't tell anybody.
You.
It's you, the business owner, because you're making up stories about what's going on instead of really having. And the thing that's also interesting is when I recognize that I want to get below that line, I want to create that space where people are down below that line more and more often. What happens is I also change how I interact with people. I'm lighter. I'm certainly not confrontational, but accountability, easy. Hey, what's going on with that project? I thought it would be, the story in my head is that we'd be further along or something like that. Above the line, oh man, Jimmy. And so what we don't realize is we can take that weakest link and make them even weaker because we're above the line being jerks, or putting lipstick on a pig and, hey, everything's great. Oh, I'm going to pretend that you're not screwing up on that project. So when you come below that line, you are just in a whole, it's really a different perspective. And as you practice it more and more, it becomes more and more dramatic how different your life as a business owner becomes.
Absolutely. And I said, this is all fantastic advice, like you said, as a business owner, in life in general, and just how you operate, really, and whether you have a team or not. And like you said, this applies with clients, it applies, just in general in life and yourself and interactions.
Husbands, wives, friends, children. It's the same thing, no matter what you're applying it to.
Yes, absolutely. I get a good laugh. My husband would get a good laugh out of that one. So. Oh, this has been fantastic. So we're kind of running up on time here. So is there anything else that we want to kind of just hammer down on for anybody before we kind of start to wrap up here?
I think just in terms of what we put up on your page is meaning happens below the line. Purpose happens below the line. purpose with my family, with my business, with my clients, because I love serving people. All of that is below the line. Confidence happens below the line. And it's because I'm listening, addressing the protector, but I'm also then taking that story and balancing it out below the line from an authentic place. And it changes your world in a dramatic way.
Absolutely. And I know that pretty much everybody, in our audience, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, this is going to resonate with everybody, and it applies to everybody. So this has been really fantastic, Chris, and I know that it will be very valuable to those who are watching. And again, a little bit of technical difficulty, although it says we're live. I don't think we are, so everybody will see this later. And if you have questions, you can reach out to Chris because you can't ask them live. So I'm just going to pop up his contact information here on the screen. So this is your Instagram handle. It's at Oh the Stories We Tell. And if people want to catch up with you, they can do that there, right? Anything
Absolutely.
else you want to give them some instructions on how to find the YouTube too?
Yeah, that'd be great. The other thing that I wanted to do is ask you please to go to my YouTube channel. And what you do is you go to YouTube, search for Oh the Stories We Tell. And what will come up, I think for most people, is the top result is a little blue thought bubble with Oh the Stories We Tell written in it. Click on that and please subscribe to it. I'm trying to get a vanity URL so I can be at Oh the Stories We Tell on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. In return, there is a 14 video piece with a very good friend of mine who came to me 2 years ago and said, "Hey, I've had some rough upbringing, and I'd like to just play with the model with you on it." And it's fascinating. I mean, and you'll love Melody. She is no BS, and she'll tell you she's telling her truth, and then we kind of run it through the model, and it's been really a great thing. So, and then Instagram, Facebook, anyway, and I'd love to chat with anybody and love anybody's feedback.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And again, if you have questions, apologies that you weren't able to ask them live. So go ahead, message Chris. If you didn't catch this, you can of course message me, and I will give you the information to connect with him as well. And go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. I will go ahead and do that as soon as we're done
Thank
here
you.
as well. And I can't thank you enough for joining us today, Chris. Thank you so much. And everybody, I'm sure that this did resonate with you. So please, take it to heart. Watch this a second time because the stuff that Chris shared today really is such an important part of the journey to be an entrepreneur. Like I said, it can really be applied to all parts of life, but as an entrepreneur, it is very, very important to learn these lessons. And the earlier on you can learn them, the more happy and successful you are going to be in your business and in your life. If you are just starting out in your business, this is great timing for you to get to hear this message. Most of you that are here are in the Facebook group, but if you're watching this elsewhere, this series, our Speaker Spotlight, comes to you live on Thursdays. So please go ahead and join the Facebook group, which is, I'm going to pop it up on the screen here because it's a handful there. So it is Build and Scale a Profitable Business. So again, thank you so much, Chris, for being here today. I have really enjoyed our conversation, and looking forward to seeing more from you on that YouTube channel.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, Lori.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.